Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. If you're new to the channel, which I'm sure many of you are because I have no subscribers, this is my 2002 Mustang GT convertible, also known as the New Edge. It's a 5-speed manual, has around 100,000 miles on it, I paid $2,500 for it. Needs a ton of work, so join me in my journey. That's Craig, he's a good boy. Anyways, welcome to the YouTube video and I appreciate you watching.
The backyard paint job is complete. It is not perfect. There's already bugs in it. There's runs terribly there because that got stuck to it and I pulled it off and I tried to fix it and it didn't work. All in all, I'm happy with it for my first time painting. I have lots of sanding to do still to fix some of these flaws, but the light at the end of the tunnel. Alright, so I'm finding this a little nerve-wracking, but I'm doing it. Any of these bugs in any of these runs, before I get sanding on it, I'm just using a new razor blade to knock them down. So you can see over here, like, it's a run. Camera doesn't want to pick it up. But I cut the heads off of all the little runs so that when I go to sand it, there's a little less work I have to do. So right here's a good example. Right where the gas filler goes. One big run underneath it. That'll make the wet sanding process a little bit easier. Don't chew me up in the comments. I've never done this before. Trying it for the first time, as with all this other painting nonsense, but had a pretty big run in here. I think the camera picks it up. I used the razor blade to get the big sections off, but for the majority of it, it's not very big. I've had this sandpaper soaking. I have 2,000 grit. I have 1,000 grit. I think I'm going to start with the 2. Just on one of these Amazon flexible blocks. Let's see what I can get out. Alright, so I wet sanded both quarters, both doors, and the hood with 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000 grit. You can still see like where the runs were, but you can't feel them. So I'm hoping it'll all buff out nicely. There are a few little dents and dings that I noticed I didn't get out before, but it's going to be a daily, not a show car. tape helps it so I don't scratch it over there. Do the same thing as the other side. 2 bolts, 3 across the top, 2 in the door, 2 in the bottom. Alright, so I cut the original clip off of the fog light, and I bought these off of Amazon. They come like that. It's the clip that'll fit the fog lights for the new bumper. So I also attached just a new piece of wire to extend it a little bit, and then I'm just going to connect them here. Black goes to black, red goes to this orange and tan. Once this melts, it puts a nice seal and weatherproofs it, but just as an extra bit of barrier, I'm gonna do just a little piece of electrical tape to help it out a little bit as well. Product though, as you can see, it worked. So I put the cover over it, and it transitions right into the stock. Looks as close to stock as you can get it. It'll be protected, and it's long enough now that I can, zip tie it up out of the way, and it'll go all the way up to the front of the bumper where it needs to go. I have both sides done right now, so time to get the front bumper put on. So I'm working in the garage with limited space. I have shit everywhere. I have stuff everywhere. So I was blocking the view putting this on 90% of the time, so I'm probably not going to show it. But in short, the tab on the end here has 2 bolts sticking out of it. Those go into holes on the side of the... Oh, see, my arm's in the way. There's 2 bolts sticking out of the side of the bracket, and those go through the fender. This guy has to sit on top of the headlight bucket. This one sits sandwiched in between the 2 on both sides. And then I had new little push pins that I put in there. See, it's fitting all the way through. Just the slightest scratch right there. But it's on. Can't really see what it looks like because it's in the garage, but at least now I had the fenders on, the front bumper on. I can get those wet sanded, and then I can move on to the back. So I'm not going to show all the wet sanding. There's a lot to it. Not really to the wet sanding. It's just a lot of slow, monotonous stuff. But one step closer to getting this all back together. All right, so putting the rear bumper back on. Same thing, just a bunch of little bolts that fit into the back. Trying to do this one-handed. Once they're in, going over to the side, there's 2 bolts on the side. Now all I have to do is go into the trunk and tighten them all down. The rear bumper's on. Next thing I want to do is get the latches put back on so I can close the doors. But it's kind of hard to see. It's in there, but it doesn't quite line up. That little piece started to fall off the back, so I removed this big panel, the speaker, started peeling this up so I could see back in there. In short, I did all of that for nothing because it is held into place, so I should be able to start the bolts. I'm going to try to get those bolts started. If not, I have it opened in the back, but now I know for the other side in case I did all that for nothing. Alright, next I'm going to get this weather stripping on. All these little clips stayed under. I'm using this panel tool and just rocking left to right to pull it out. Once it's out, I can do this with one hand. Once it's out, they just go in like, I don't know if you saw that. We do another one. Once they're out, they just go in on one side and then pull it tight to get the other side in. And then they just push back up, going around the whole door on both sides. Alright, so I said I didn't need to do it. Correction is I didn't need to do it on the other side. It did fall in on this side. So I took the other side apart for no reason, but now I gotta take this all apart to get that little clip and put it back in. That's where that pin sets in. So I gotta wedge my hand into there. Alright, after about 40 minutes, this is finally on. Long story short, open this up. I got the backing plate out, went to put it on, dropped it. It went way down in here, so I had to break my magnet and stick my hand in through there and painfully try to get it down out of here. I finally got it out. I had to hold it by hand while I tightened it with my left hand here because that little bracket back there was bent and wouldn't hold the backing plate. But in short, if you're going to take these off, carefully don't knock that plate out because that was a nightmare. Alright, I'm going to call it there. I appreciate you guys watching. Everything is sanded with 1500, 2000, and 3000 grit. Next I'm going to cut and buff it. And then I'm going to put the scoops, the side skirts, and the door handles back on. It's been a long point to get here. I appreciate you hanging around and watching. If you haven't seen the previous videos, go take a look. Well, this is what I've been doing the last 2 weeks. It's just sanding and sanding and sanding. But more to come in the future. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Thanks.